So to paint the car, we're going to want to remove the fuel filler here from this outside panel. And that's really easily done. As you can see here, it comes through. We're going to obviously have to take off this pipe also to get this bit of plywood that they put in there for trim. And you can see it's just held here by one little circular clip. Goes to a rubber line that goes into the fuel tank. And so this is really pretty simple. And these are in good shape. Undo it a little bit and you can just withdraw it from there, and then pry off the rubber. So now that I've got the back cleared out, windows are out of the car. Got the fuel tank beautifully exposed here, and I have no idea whether the sender unit works or not. And I want to also see inside the condition of the fuel tank. Now, it's been drained for quite a while. The gas was pretty foul smelling when he drained it. And what I'm going to do is, this is the fuel sender on this here's Morris Minor, and it's a typical product that you'd see at this time. Some were mounted on the sides of the tank. They have a little float arm, and some are mounted on top like this. But by taking this out, I can test the sender. If it doesn't work, they're about 20 pounds, 25 pounds to get a new one. And I can also see what the state is inside the tank. I'd like not to have to drop the tank. I'm hoping it's pretty clean inside, but this is the way you look at it. And you can see it's got a series of sort of little screws, which also hexagonal, and so you can use a spanner to take them off the socket. And so that's what we're going to do and have a look inside. Okay, once those are off, we can lift it and see what we've got. And oh my God, is that ever brutal? Well, there you can see the wages of having a car that's sat for a long time, and the gas has turned to basically a kind of a varnish muck. I have to think about what to do with this if I want to try to boil out this tank or just replace it with a new one. I didn't know if I was going to have to drop the tank or not, but after I pulled off the sender unit and I saw all that crud on it, and it's clear that either I'm going to need a new tank or I get this one boiled out. We'll have to see when we pull it out, but it's got to come out anyway. Fortunately, it's not a bad job to do if you've got most of the rear interior portions out of the Traveler. That's the same thing with a saloon. You have pretty good access, and of course that's why this is the time you want to service that fuel sender unit, inspect your tank, and all of that. It actually lifts out, and you can see there's a series of Phillips headed screws around there. But of course, you've got to undo the fuel line from it. Now the tank's already been drained, and it's quite dry. And to get to the fuel line and undo that is not so difficult. You need a 5/8 inch spanner, and you don't actually even have to jack up the car. It's right on the tank right here on the left-hand side of the car. And you can reach underneath it and you can undo it without jacking up the car. Of course, it makes it a bit easier if you jack up the car and you have the wheel, and it makes it really a lot easier if you put it up on the lift. But it's really not necessary, and just the hassle of sort of rolling it up on the lift doesn't make any sense, given that this is really not that bad of a job. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to undo that. Undo all these Phillips head screws here and lift the tank out. And then we'll assess whether we can boil it out or not, because it's, you know, over 180 pounds to buy a new one, and then shipping over here on top of that. You know, it's an expense. Okay, so there's a little bit of mastic underneath. So there's a little bit of a seal, And you kind of want to get something underneath to pry it up gently so you don't deform this or that. And just rock it a little bit, and it will come loose. And then you can just lift the fuel tank away. And so that's what I'm going to do in a second here, is just lift it away from here. Okay, so here's the rear of the Traveler. The fuel tank is now out. Again, you can see the metal looks very good in there. There's some sort of a seal that's down on this thing, which we'll have to figure out if the gasket that's we can replace that with, or something that we'll get down there. And it sort of glued it on, but it's easy to kind of rock it loose. And here's our tank, which of course is going to need our undivided attention. If I have to replace this, it's going to cost me over 200 pounds with shipping. It just doesn't look that bad. So I'm hoping that we can get this boiled out and save some money with that. But we're going to have to see. There's our fuel line. And obviously before we do anything with the car, we're going to run a cleaner through there and make sure that that fuel system is good. The carbs, I know, are very clean. But we've got this metal line that goes forward, and we'll be working on that with a little mule pump, and just make sure that everything's clean and working well. But not a bad job. Doesn't take long. Didn't necessarily want to do this, but it makes a better job when I repaint the interior here rather than masking off the tank.